I was born in Haiti in 1964, one of 13 children. Now, the truth is I did not know all of them because I was one of the fifth. My story is that I was born with a tumor. In the time in Haiti, because I was born from a family that was so poor, they could not afford to take care of another child. Just imagine a child that you just gave birth to, that you have prepared for 9 months to see this child, and then when he came out and you looked at him, and in front of his face is a tumor the size of a small fist. I know that you've been expecting a child that is supposed to be in good health and cute as a button, and this one came out with an infirmity, not just an infirmity, but one that can destroy his life. So you're looking at a child that may not live even to see 1 year old. Well, the story didn't stop there. My mother and father refused to listen to any of the neighbors. So she decided to keep this child. I cannot lie to you, it was very difficult. Now, you can't even afford to feed all the ones that you already have. And now you got one that you got to feed, but also you got to take care of medical care. Through a lot of talk in Haiti, there's a lot of clinics that is run by a lot of nuns. And my mother heard of one. And so she decided, why not? Let's see if we could get help this way. So they took me there. Sure enough, that they could not do any surgeries because nobody can do any that type of surgery in Haiti. But they could put a Band-Aid on it. So I would go there every single month just for them to check. And come to find out about an orphanage. We have a place in Haiti called the Social Affairs. It's where that they take care of a lot of children. If you got problems or children without parents or you're an orphan, then that is the place where you go. They can put you in some place or somewhere. And so when we found that out, of course, it took some time, but they did know about this particular orphanage. And so they did, and they had to give you the proper papers for you to be able to go there, to be accepted at that orphanage. Well, you know, I look at everything, I don't call it luck, I call it God's plan. Everything in my story is absolutely God's plan. I had to go back. Living at my house, it was very difficult. We had all these children and the grandmas and the grandpas, and we all live in a 10 by 10 mud hut. We sleep on a dirt floor with cardboard boxes. That was our bedding. And the clothes that was so worn was actually the mattress. So every night, that's what we would put down to sleep in. And those nights, I remember some of them quite vividly. I'll get up sometime in the middle of the night. Instead of drooling, I was bleeding out of my mouth. So my problem was getting worse and worse. That's why my family got so desperate to find some kind of answer to my problems, and which is their problem. And so I remember also sometime through the night that my father, which is a voodoo priest, would also be doing some of his ceremonies because he's trying to protect his son. And so the only way he knows, because he didn't know God, it was to just simply do a lot of seances trying to get some kind of answer for his own son. And those times was quite scary, to be honest with you. Now, you know, here I am, we poor, and sick, and hurt, and hungry, but yet, Father believes the only way that he's going to ever get any answers is praying to the devil. But really, what he did not know, that I had a God that had a purpose and a plan for my life. And he was working that purpose and that plan all this time. Yes, it took a little bit, but throughout this time, he also sent me to a place called Haiti Christian Orphanage. And I can remember the morning that my father was getting ready to take me. Now, mind you, think about a mother and your siblings. You've been with them for 5.5 years. And then now you're fixing to separate, you're fixing to take you somewhere and drop you off. And the truth is, they may never see you again. That was pretty tough. I remember getting up that morning, Dad would feed me a piece of bread with some sugar water, which is all that they could afford. And then put the only little short pair of pants that I had on, and this little piece of rubber shoe. Didn't have socks, because we couldn't afford that. And my little shirt, that's all we had. And so, and we had quite a long way to walk. Because we didn't have money for top-tops, we had to do quite a bit of walking. And I just minded you, 5.5 years old, fixing to walk. Oh gosh, if I tell you how long, it'd be from walking from here and to going to Henderson, Kentucky. So it's quite a long ways. Because we had to do so much walking, it took us quite a bit of time. We left that morning from Corfu, and we didn't arrive to the orphanage until about 5 o'clock that evening. So that's pretty long. And I can remember I've never rode in a car before. The only top-top that we were able to take, I remember sitting inside the top-top was scared because I've never been in one. And I remember watching the trees pass by and did not understand what's always going on, but at the same time it was pretty exciting. And so when I arrived, I remember doing that, walking up to the orphanage and seeing this beautiful place, this huge house. And mind you, I've never seen anything quite like it before. And then, and there I saw all these boys, and I'm going, wow. Kind of scared at the same time, but excited at the same time. But also know, my dad fixing to drop me off, and I'm never going to get to see him again. And so, and now we arrive, and we sit underneath a garage, and I'm waiting for someone to talk to us. And then my dad finally found someone and told him that we have the papers that Social Affairs sent us here. And so, and what we're supposed to do, he simply said, well, the manager of the orphanage is not here yet. And when he returns, you can give him these papers. For right now, just sit right here. Well, one thing I did not know, that that Papa Vin also was in the country also. And the other thing I did not know, that was his last night in the country. And well, 5:30 arrived, and there come a vehicle with 3 white gentlemen in it. And mind you, I've never seen a white person in my entire life. The only thing I've always heard, or ever heard, was that white gentlemen, they'll eat little black people. And that's the truth. That's what I've heard. So when I saw these people, I was very scared. But then I saw these people that start coming toward me and looking at me because they saw something. They saw a child with a huge tumor in his face. So of course, they were very curious. First of all, there comes this gentleman named Papa Eddie Van Hoos. And he looked at me and said, what's your name? And I couldn't really talk very well. So I said my name as best as I know how to. And then and trying to ask what happened, nobody knew. They just know that somebody just dropped this young boy off. And so this doctor came over, and so they examined me and said, said this young boy has to get to America right away. This young boy needs surgery as soon as possible. And then now that my dad has to turn around and go back home. Oh, that time was really tough. Now, 5 years old, the only person you know, the only thing you know is your mom and dad. And then now, he's fixing to leave and never to see him again. I remember that he looked at my face like he was trying to get a memory of what I look like. And then he had to tell me goodbye, pick me up, give me a hug, and put me down again. And he started walking. I could not let him go. I had to run after him. I ran after my dad, wrapped my arms around his legs, and tell him, please don't go. Please don't leave me here. Take me with you. And he picked me up again and walked me back and set me back again. And then he turned around and started to leave again. My heart just started to break. I couldn't do it. So I ran after him again. I said, please, Daddy, don't leave me here. But he looked at me and said, this is for your own good. He said, these men right here, they're fixing to change your life. He said, they're going to do things I can never do for you. They're going to give you things that I can never give you. They're actually going to save your life. I couldn't eat, and all I could do is just cry and cry and cry. I remember they showed me the bed where I'm supposed to sleep, and I lay in that bed at night, every night, just sobbing because I need my money. I need my daddy. After a while, I started realizing where I'm at and what I have, and I started getting to know the boys, and so things started getting a little bit better. Started playing, going to school, which that was another thing. I couldn't go to school because, of course, now that I was still young, but I couldn't afford it. And so now that I have a place I can go to school and have tons of what I call my brothers now, and have 3 meals a day, and actually a mattress and a bed, which I never had before. Now, mind you, the mattress was made out of grass. We call it hay here. And so I remember in the middle of the night, there'd been time that the little blades of grass would come through the material, which was so thin, and they would keep on sticking me. And so beside the grass and the bed bugs and the mosquitoes, we had a great night. With all that, it still was better than what I had. It still was better sleeping on a dirt floor, and with the bed bugs, with the mosquitoes, and with tons of fear, because we only knew the thing of the devil. That man called Papa Then, that we call Papa Then today, and as you all know it here in Bible Center Church, he came back. And this time he came back for me. And he brought me some of the most beautiful clothes that I've ever seen in my entire life. And he came for the week, prepare me, got my passport, and then and I was supposed to go back with him to go have that surgery that the doctor promised. And days passed, and I remember that morning I spent the night with Papa in his apartment there at the orphanage, and put my little clothes on me, and I got all dressed, my new shoes, and then we got in the car and away to the airport. And now I'm fixing to get on a big old plane, which I have never seen or done before. So again, I'm fearful again and scared. And I remember sitting next to Papa Then, and he just held my hand, and I remember being picked up by Mama Then, and went to her house, and I arrived to her house. Never seen anything like that before. Beautiful house, warm, and Mama had dinner. I mean, dinner ready, fried chicken, mashed potatoes, gravy, and biscuits, and you name it. She just, just took care of me just like her own child. It was just absolutely just wonderful. Warm water. Well, I just thought I just came to heaven, to be honest with you. And the next day, Mama Then took me shopping. Took me to Kmart. My Lord, I have never seen anything like that in my entire life. And the time came, and I had to catch another flight to Akron, Ohio. I stayed with the other gentleman that's named Gene White. I lived there for a few weeks until they get everything ready for my surgery. And then it was just a few weeks took me for my surgery. I admitted me to the hospital. And then a few days later, after all the tests, and it was time for the surgery. I had my surgery. Everything looks great. And I had to stay there for a few weeks because, to recuperate. And they took care of me. It was time for me to go back to Gene White's house to continue to recuperate. And then I was on my way back to Evansville, Indiana, where I went back to stay with Papa and Mama Then. 2.5 years later, I'm a little older, a few years older. And Papa Then always believed that God sent me to Haiti for one reason, is to help the Haitian people. And once I help one, then they need to go back and go help their own country, which is good. It's a wonderful idea, a wonderful thing. But the only problem is, I'm still a little guy. And so how much help can I be? So I went back to Haiti, back to the orphanage, thank the Lord. Because at the orphanage there, I have a place I have a bed, and I have a school, and I have 3 meals a day, so that was great. I found that there's more tumors. There's another one developed in my neck, another one developed inside my jaw again, and then also another one that was developing in my colon. But I kept my secret. The reason I kept my secret is because that kids, if you don't know, they tend to tease you a lot, even if they do not understand what you're going through. But they don't care. They just tease you. So there's no way I was going to tell these boys at the orphanage that I have that kind of problem, or tell anyone. Well, my secret was out. They found out I had that because there was some symptoms that I was demonstrating, and I would, out of nowhere, I would be standing up and pass out because I was losing too much blood. Now that's been going on for years, and I wouldn't tell nobody. There comes God again. Sent me another person. Another American showed up. It was a group of doctors and dentists from Jacksonville, Florida. Came to do some mission work. Here I am again, way back. Going back to the United States for another surgery. There, I had another 4 surgeries because I had 4 tumors, more tumors. Hey, again, I felt like I was living in heaven again, and I got to go to Disney World. Can you imagine that? A poor boy from Haiti. You'd say, well, that's hard, that's difficult, because you're living in America and living the life of an American, and then now you got to go back to Haiti, somewhere with absolutely nothing. I was sitting on the steps of the church. And then things would start going through my mind. And then I had to question God. And I asked him, I said, do you love people like us? Do you love the Haitian people? And you're probably wondering, after all that God has done for you, how dare you to even ask that? I'm sure all of us somehow, some way, has asked that question because that things happen to you. I don't think he had to answer. I think that answer, I already knew that. If he didn't really love people like me, then why would he did all the things he did for me? Why would he save my life? And I think the answer came at the age of 15 years old, is when another group of missionaries showed up, the Paces, to Haiti, to adopt a young boy named Philippe. And while they were there, and something told me, something in my spirit said, why don't you ask him to come to the United States to finish high school? Because I found out that he owns a Christian school. So I muscled up enough courage, and I went to him. I said, sir, I've heard you have a Christian school. I said, through all my surgeries, I've missed a lot of schooling. I said, I would love to come and finish school. And he looked at me and said, yes, not a problem. He said, what do you need? I said, well, I need a passport and an airline ticket. He said, no problem. And before he left, because he had to go back to Oklahoma, before he left the money for the passport, the money for the ticket. And it was just a few weeks later, I found myself again in the air, flying this time, going to Oklahoma. I'm going to become a cowboy. And then I'm at the end of my 4 years. I was fixing to get deported again. And then there comes this couple by the name of Rick and Sue Williams. Asked me to come to their house. They had a question for me. They said, hey, we want to adopt you. But you know, hey, I was in my last year in high school, so I'm too old. Because I thought they only adopt kids that's small. They didn't adopt grown people, teenagers. They said, yes, I know your age, but we love you. We want you to be part of our family. And not only that, by being part of our family, then you can stay here in this country. And I become a Williams. Now, mind you, I was already a William. Now I'm a Williams, just changed with an S. Being born with that infirmity, that was my ticket. Not just my ticket to save my life, but the life of my 3 children that I have today. I look back at it today and I see God's hands on every single minute and every single hour and every single day and every single month and every single year of my life. I have made a decision when I came to Oklahoma that there would never be a day or a minute or an hour that I would ever not look at heaven and to say thank you and to live a life of gratefulness and of thankfulness.
Where would I be? You only know. I'm glad you see through eyes of love. I was a hopeless case, an empty place, if not for grace.